single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something.
What's going on, everybody? This is Brother Mike here with Rig Right Fishing here in the city of Clewiston, Florida. I'm right here on Lake Okeechobee. The lake is right behind me. I went out yesterday, was able to get me 5 nice keepers, and so this is the video you're about to watch. I hope you guys hit a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, maybe what type of lure you would like to see me fish with here on Lake Okeechobee. Again, guys, but most importantly, I want to tell you, keep on making these bass famous, never stop fishing. All right, man, we'll talk to y'all soon. Okay guys, right here I was on my way to a certain area and I ended up seeing a lot of fish activity busted on top, a lot of shad in the area, a lot of heights and very clear water in this area right here in the south end of Lake Okeechobee. So I'll put up in this little channel, begin to throw out that catch water, and we'll see what happens. This was earlier in the day, and so eventually had to go in, drop my son off, and then come back out again to the area that you're going to see in the next few clips. So right here, I pull up in this, almost like an alleyway, if you could look at it like that. There's all these highways, big super highways of grass, fields everywhere. And then all of a sudden, there's these little alleyways, waterways that are coming in and out of them. And so I pulled up almost like at the beginning of the opening of the alleyway. And so I'm there, I pulled up my motor, pulled up my boat up in the grass where it was kind of holding me there. I did have my trolling motor on just to get out of that grass line at every other cast, just so I wouldn't get hung up on the grass. But right here I seen a lot of shad, I mean all in that grass, all swimming in and out of this channel. It's coming right off the main lake, and so there was bass just busting everywhere. And so what I began to do again, as soon as I seen them chasing shad out the water, I put out that top water lure, that Hogan 17. I began to cast it out in front of these grass line. And then you'll see the few catches that we made that day. I was able to catch 4 more keepers and lost one big one. And earlier that day too, I had caught another fish on a spinnerbait coming into this channel. And so I was just testing it out and tied on a spinnerbait, cast it out there, and was able to catch a big fish. Unfortunately, I was not able to videotape that. But again, guys, I'm just working that top water, using different action. And here you see one of the first or the second fish I caught using the same bait. And so I just stuck to one lure this day. I just felt very confident with that lure after catching, especially catching the second one on it. And I see what the fish were doing, the pattern of the fish. They were just busting on top of the water chasing shad. So I just remained with this bait the rest of the day and just kept on doing what I was doing. Seen them blowing up out there. Right here coming into this channel. These fish are chasing all these shad. Not a big one, but a pretty one. All right, Mr. Bass, Mr. Famous. Oh, there's some more over there. Right here, guys, I mean, I'm continuously seeing these bass chasing shad all through this grass line. There was even some busting behind me, busting all around me. I just try to stay focused. It was, I would say it was around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm there, I'm continuously just popping that lure. I'm working in different ways. And I noticed one thing that I did, and one of the things that I did is I threw it in front of that grass line. Sometimes I just let it sit there. I let it sit there for like 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, maybe at the most, maybe even longer than that. And the fish were just coming out and attacking it. And so some fish I caught them by doing a pop retrieve. Some fish I caught them by just simply a cast and retrieve. And then some fish I caught that day by simply just allowing it to sit on top of that water right in front of that grass line. We all know that bass are predators by nature, and they hunt, using cover. And so that's basically what I was looking at that grass line. It was I could imagine shad swimming right in front of that grass line, and those big bass just coming out of that grass just to chase those shad and catch a few for the meal for that day. So I was just trying to imitate what the shad were doing, and just give them a big beefy bait to come and attack right in front of that grass line. No pliers. Top water. Okeechobee. Major famous Mr. Bass. Number 3. That's a keeper. Same thing here, guys. I mean, I continue to keep on using the same pattern. And this one right here, you see me, I was just casting and retrieve it along in front of that grass line. But it seems like when I was able to cast it on the other side of the grass line and just allow it to sit there. Right here, you see me in the video, I think I'm just letting it sit there. And so I let it sit there, twitch, 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 let it sit there. And there it was. I mean, it wasn't, most of the time, some of the bait, like I said, I did catch a few moving it and retrieving it fast. But a lot of these fish, I would believe that day I caught them retrieving it pretty slow. And so this was a nice fish also, a little bit smaller one. But like I said, guys, I mean, these were all keepers. I had my tape measure there at the bottom of the boat. And I think it goes all the way up to 30 inches. And so one of these bass that I caught later on the day would measure up to around 19 inches. And so that was a pretty nice bass, very beautiful bass. And so was able to initialize, especially right at the last, was able to initialize, get me a nice bass in the boat. I believe it probably was around a 4-pounder. The only reason I did not weigh the fish was because it was bleeding. It wasn't damaged. It wasn't, going to kill the fish, but at the same time, my main concern was to get the fish back into the water. So you see me guys, I released that fish and then right away caught another one right after that. And so these fish are right here in that area. And so I truly believe, Lake Okeechobee is still on fire, guys. I mean, there's different ways to catch these fish. And so you just got to be willing to try the different ways that you can get on these fish. And so I believe the pattern that I went with that day was right on point. And so I encourage anybody, when you see those bass out there chasing those shad, pull out a little top water bait, a prop bait type top water, and with the open mouth in the front. That way it'll create a little bit of a spitting action, and see what you guys can do. This particular lure that I'm using was actually a lure that was given to me by one of my little boy's friends at school. He likes to fish. He knows that I like to fish, and so we kind of traded lures that day. But guys, it's a Hogan 17. If you ain't ever seen one, I would get online and look for one. These baits are pretty effective. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe and share this video. Talk to you later. But it wasn't a fatal wound. See if we can make it happen again, guys. I think that was that big one. I think that was that big one that we have been seeing. Oh, there's another one back there. There's another big one back there, guys. This is rig right fishing. That's what I'm using, guys. It's like a prop bait. It's a Hogan 17. Beautiful, beautiful bait. It was given to me by one of my boys' friends at school. I in turn gave him a nice KVD spinner bait.